Welcome to this week's episode of TUF Coffee Shop Talk. I'm your host, Rhonda Lavoie. And today, we're starting something new. I'm calling it TUF Unfiltered. During these episodes, I will talk about things raw and unfiltered. Real-life stuff that I hope will help you get a leg up and propel you forward. Learn from my mistakes and the things I have learned. But first, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. That way, it will be easy for you to find me each week, so you never miss an episode. And if you like what you hear, I'd love it if you click that 5th star and gave us a rating. Not only does it make me feel amazing when you do it, it helps others find my podcast so I can start helping more people. Thank you. Now, let's dive right in. Let's get to this week's episode. Today I wanted to talk about my brokerage. I haven't really talked about that a whole lot, but for those who don't know, I had my own real estate brokerage previously from before I came to eXp Realty. I opened it as kind of a boutique brokerage. It was just me, and I really just did it because I wanted to preserve my brand and build almost a legacy in a sense. I didn't have this big ambition to bring on a bunch of people. I hope to maybe, build something interesting that people would be attracted to and that would be my own and reflect on me. I didn't do it so much to save money, because when you work for another brokerage, of course, they take their cut from whatever it is, whatever your model is. They'll take some of whatever you earn, or you have to pay them monthly, whatever that looks like. But I did it more just to preserve that brand. And I certainly have no regrets because I am the type of person that believes everything happens for a reason. And, if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have had the experiences that I needed to be the person that I am today. However, I must say that there's many things that happened when I built my brokerage and worked in the brokerage for the 3 years that I'm still feeling the effects of. And the biggest one is money. Because when you create something, when you start something new and you create something, your focus gets changed from the other things in your life. And that really doesn't matter what it is, but that's just the fact. Like for me, I was focusing on building my brokerage and doing all the brokerage responsibilities as a broker, which removed my focus from selling houses. So I didn't sell as much, which means I didn't make as much money. But it could be for you. It could be, say your kids start up different sports. So then you're focused on that. And then your relationships with some of your friends will suffer because you aren't as focused on those things anymore. Your attention gets diverted. Or we talk about it all the time in real estate. If you start focusing on something else. Like for instance, when I opened when I started the membership, that took some of my focus. So some of my numbers dipped a little bit in real estate. And it's okay to do those things. I'm not saying not to do those things. I'm just saying that there is consequence to those things and just to be aware. So when I opened my brokerage, one of the negative consequences was that my deal count or my transactions fell because I was not focused on generating leads and, gaining that business. I was focused on, what's a trust account and how do I manage it and how do I get these conveyancing instructions over here and how do I advertise and what tools do I get and, all of the things that come in building a business and managing a business took my focus away, so I didn't make as much money, which then had me digging into savings and whatnot. So even 2 years later, so I guess it's about just about 2.5 years since I closed my brokerage and joined eXp, I'm still feeling the effects of that and still trying to crawl out of some of the debt that I gained by having the brokerage and, losing that focus and spending money on trying to gain momentum in a business. I don't see that as a failure that, some people might go, well, you failed, you closed it. I don't look at it that way. And you're welcome to look at it any way you want. That's up to you. But for me, I still see it as something that I needed to go through to be where I am today. I wouldn't be I don't believe I'd be the same person I am today, which I think I'm a better person than I was, say, 5 years ago, if I wouldn't have gone through that. And I wouldn't have the respect for the industry that I have if I wouldn't have experienced those things. So I don't have those regrets. However, I do want to help others realize some things so that they can make the decision with all the facts. When I opened my brokerage, I didn't have anybody helping me. I was kind of in a silo, which many people in real estate are. And I didn't know anybody who had done this. I just didn't have anybody to draw on to understand, what this really meant. The only brokerages that I had worked for were bigger brokerages, that have the model of getting as many agents as they can, because that, that's their business plan, that's how they're going to make their money, is by gaining the agents. But for me, that wasn't my intent. And I'm not really sure a boutique brokerage is a sustainable model as its own brand, as its own entity. I do totally believe that you can create it if you were to create it underneath an umbrella of a franchise or another company, and have someone broker for you, and have someone have all that infrastructure. So when I came to EXP as an example, I gained a lot because I no longer had to worry about, what tools to use and, what value to bring to any agents if I were to bring agents on, because they're doing that, and they're doing it at a global level. Like their purchasing power is, 88,000 to 1 in comparison. There's 88,000 agents in EXP, and I was one agent with my company, the Urban Farmhouse Realty. So, they can go and talk to someone like Canva and get a deal so that, they can bring that to their agents, where I wouldn't be able to. I would be paying that full price, which would eat into my margins dearly. But, EXP brings us Canva Pro, and absolutely free to the agents, which is incredible. That's not something I could do as a boutique brokerage. They bring things like SkySlope and FinTracker and KV Core and so many other things. Like they have Success Magazine, they have a luxury line, they have a referral company, all sorts of things that as a boutique I just wouldn't be able to do. And you try to bring, you try to compete with companies like that, and it's very challenging as a boutique because you just don't have the backing. You don't have the money to be able to have the personnel behind it. So there's something to be said about, models like that. But the beauty of something like EXP is you could still have, in essence, your own branded team, boutique brokerage. You could, have a storefront if you wanted. You could have your systems in place that reflected who you were. And that was my thing, is that I wanted to ensure that the systems and processes that I used didn't get diluted with, losing it with the other agents that represented the company. And you could have all of that with EXP because you can brand yourself there and also benefit from having all of the tools that go behind it. And I think, at least for me, I align really well with the company because of the collaboration piece. So one of the things that I didn't know I wanted until I came here was the ability to collaborate. And I'm going to rephrase that. I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think it was possible to collaborate in real estate, because all of my experiences had been that it was very cutthroat, that agents did not want to help you get a leg up because they saw you as competition, very scarcity mindset within the industry. But then when I came and I started to reach out to agents and have that collaboration piece, I realized that it is possible, and that there is the ability to work with agents and that they want to help you and that they want to see you succeed and that there's plenty of business to go around for all of us. And, much more of an abundance mindset than I had experienced before. So that was one piece, the collaboration piece, regardless of where you are. The collaboration piece was huge for me in helping me become happier. Honestly, become happier in real estate. Because being in your own brokerage, even if it was just one or two people, is quite lonely. And you question yourself a lot because you don't have anybody to bounce things off of. And you're just looking at that perfect world out there, that the social media world where you go see what everybody else is doing, and you judge yourself and you question what you're doing and you try and live up to those perfect world standards, and you don't have anybody to talk to about what it really is like. And that collaboration piece does that for you. It allows you to be able to work with someone and just have that real life conversation, kind of like what we're doing right now, and help you determine, what you should be doing going forward. Is that perfect world actually what is attainable, or even where you want to go for that matter? It's really easy when you're by yourself to kind of get stuck and, maybe in a bit of a funk or stuck trying to fit yourself into a mold instead of trying to create a mold. And now that I'm out of that and, close the brokerage and have a better mindset, I want to build the mold. I don't want to fit in a mold anymore. I want to build my own. And I want to, help people build their own molds. I don't even want to try and make them fit into mine. I want to build my mold and just hang it out there for people to see and give them the opportunity to want to build their mold too. Because I believe that there's plenty of work around for everyone. There's abundance, no doubt abundance out there. And that if you do it your way and you see everything, all the opportunities that are there, and live in that kind of that excited, abundant, happy world, you'll be fulfilled and you'll want to build your own mold. So back to the real estate brokerage. If you're considering opening your own brokerage, which in Saskatoon, I've actually seen several boutiques kind of pop up in the last 2 years. And I think many are doing it because they think that they're going to save those fees. I will strongly discourage you from doing so unless you're planning to build a brokerage and your intent is to no longer sell. If you're going to build a brokerage where you're going to bring in agents and you're going to work with those agents and your goal is to have many of those to make your money, I do not suggest you create or open a real estate boutique brokerage, a small brokerage, because your focus is going to be shifted. You're going to no longer sell as many houses, and it's going to end up not only costing you more money than you had before, but likely eating into some of your savings like it did for myself. If you're happy with that, content with that, plan to probably lose at least a quarter of your revenue, especially in the first year or two, and likely more. Actually, first year, you're probably going to lose 50%. So you're going to cut your sales in half. Second year, it'll maybe gain back up to where you're 3/4 of where you were before. And unless you can really scale something, you'll likely not pass much more than what you were doing before to be making more money. So the savings that you would have had by leaving your brokerage you're not just saving the $1,000 a month when you come to a brokerage, because you're going to be losing much more than the $1,000 a month. by opening your brokerage, because your transaction count is going to suffer. Your real estate business is going to suffer because of the focus that you have to have on the other things. That's it. It's the truth. It's not a pretty truth. And I know there's lots of passion about creating a brokerage and the things that might come from that. So if that's what you want to do, by all means do it. But know what I'm saying here. Take that into account so that you're not caught off guard and, dig yourself into a hole like I did. Because I'll be honest, I dug myself in a hole. I have debt that I now have to work off by, selling more houses. And thankfully, in our industry, we can do that. And in real estate, you can, double down, focus, work harder, find more leads, get everything going and make more money. My first year at EXP, I had over half as many more transactions than I had in my any previous year in real estate. I had 41 transactions my first year in real estate at EXP Realty, which propelled me to be an icon agent in the top 50 of Canada. I was, agent 40 out of several thousand. So it's certainly possible, but now, I have to, I'm reminded quite frequently of the consequences of having my own brokerage, because I don't have that freedom that I would have if I wouldn't have opened that brokerage and have just gone straight to EXP Realty, because my focus changed on having a brokerage. Again, lots of things that I learned from that. So I don't have the regret. But in a sense, I kind of have the regret. I try to find the silver lining, but I also want to use these episodes to be able to help other people. And if hearing my story makes you wonder what that really means, I'm helping in a little way. And if you're hearing my story and you need to chat about it more, by all means, you're welcome to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk about these things. I'm not going to talk you out of something. I am here to tell you the facts. I am here to tell you the reality of what happened to me. And maybe you're different. Maybe you're special in a way that I wasn't. But I honestly think that there's some things there that as soon as you change that focus, you're going to see a decline. So going into it, eyes wide open is really important. Yeah. So that was our episode today. I hope you found it helpful. And know that this doesn't just apply to a real estate business. This applies to any venture that you're going to go on. As soon as you start something new, your focus is going to change. So just understand those consequences. But yeah, this concludes the episode. Thanks for being here. It really does mean a lot to me. Again, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, as I'd love it if you came back week to week. And if you're looking for information on me or on the membership, you can check out tufinstitute.com. So that's tufinstitute.com. And if you want more info on me and my real estate business, check out rhondalavoy.exprealty.com. And you can find me on socials at rhonda_TUF on Instagram, or just by my name on Facebook. Give me a follow or reach out anytime. I'd love to hear from you. I hope you have a really marvelous day, and I can't wait to bring you another episode next week.